kind of talk about the difference between like a bar scene and the selling tickets, showing up to a show, doing a concert? Kind of talk about the difference between those two settings.
So, for musicians out there that have never done the cover band circuit, it's a whole different animal. I remember being younger saying I would never do that, but I regret saying that because I didn't know what I was talking about. I respect cover musicians for many, many reasons. You have to learn so many songs. So, for an example, this weekend, playing with Billy Brown, I was sent a set list that's like 65 songs long. So that's um, enough music to get about 4 hours in with some breaks, and also him talking between some of the songs, having the crowd maybe give us a song or two that they want to request because that happens all the time,
And
or
like
somebody has a
to like
birthday or
break it down one more. So like when you were touring with Aaron Lewis,
Mhm.
how many songs would you guys play on a night with that you would play that hour with him?
Yeah. So we only play for an hour, so that was usually I would say like 14 songs, maybe.
Such a wild difference.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like you're
that's
talking about
maybe.
like a sprint versus a super marathon while and like I know some of the uh bands you've played in the past, you would drink while you did it. Do you drink with him on stage and do you like when you play with him?
Yeah, yeah, usually like a light beer. So it's you got to pace yourself because especially it depends on the drummer, but just especially somebody that like I like to perform a lot, so I'm pretty active like for most of the show, at least I try to be. So I'm pretty sweaty. So I sweat a lot, and if you drink a lot, your motor functions go down. So as a drummer, you can't really get too messed up. You got to pace yourself, and I think any musician should just in general. But yeah, so light beer or water. Before the show, usually try to have something with caffeine, coffee, a Coca Cola or Pepsi or whatever's there. Just something to kind of get me like a little bit of pep in my step when I start, and then I can start having some beers and then relax with time. But if you have too many, I've had the fatigue where if you have too many, for sure, um, you start to lose your grip strength, you start to lose your groove ability, your brain starts to mess up when it comes to certain parts of songs, especially because you have to remember so many different songs and different
What
transitions and starts and ends and everything.
you said grip strength. So like if you start trying to over grip and now you're like playing rigid, you're hitting weird, you aren't hitting level, you start doing a lot of different things when you start focusing on like, all right, don't lose this stick. All right,
Yep.
keep rhythm. Like if you start focusing on one or two things, like you a lot of things start falling out of perspective there for you.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I would say most of the people that I know that do this for a living, whether it's playing cover band stuff or full time musician on tour with an original band, or you do both, because a lot of people in Nashville do both, which I've realized over the last year. Some of them don't even drink because they know for a fact, especially drummers, they know for a fact they have to like pace themselves. And some of these guys do 2 or 3 shows in one day. So that's different artists, a whole different set list for the most part, completely different vibe for each one. So like, yeah, you got to be like on point for sure. So
I've heard a few different musicians do interviews and they talk about like, we don't drink on stage. We don't, nobody drinks beforehand. Nobody does this. And they talk about like, for them, it's a professionalism thing where uh, they don't want to like, they're like, all these people paid all this money to come see us. I want to be at my best. And my best is not when I'm drinking. Then I know there's other people out there that do get those nerves, do get jitters, and
mhm.
like they need something to kind of calm all that back down. So I can see it from both sides, but at the same point, like I've also been to shows where nobody was barely able to stand up. People are slurring in their songs, like people are in rough spots. So
Yeah, man.